Mind Heritage Empowering Mind.
My name is Gardner RH, and we were given an assignment to come up with a speech, and I managed to come up with something, and I think it's quite unique. It's out there. It's basically to do with space, something I find it's very fascinating. So anyway, yeah. Have you ever looked up at the sky and thought to yourself, have you ever looked up at the sky and wondered, in a very vast nothingness, darkness, there is us on this rock we call Earth, and we are people, we are conscious, we live, we laugh, we love, we are curious, we have opinions on different things. Yes, but we exist in this vacuum of space on this one rock. Let me put it into perspective on how vast space can be. It can, let's say we are to shrink down Earth to the size of a tennis ball. Yeah, the distance from this tennis ball to the sun would be around 700 meters. Just the Earth and the sun. If the Earth were the size of a tennis ball, that's 700 meters. It's almost a kilometer. That's very big, and as we are very small on this rock called Earth. Another way I can put it into perspective could be through light. Light takes 8 minutes to move from the sun to Earth. It seems quite fast, but these are millions of kilometers covered for it to reach here. Then that same light to leave, let's say light leaving Earth to leave our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, it would take around 2.5 million years. That's even way larger compared to the 8 minutes. But we are on this Earth, in this nothingness, and currently we are the only intelligent life that we know of that exists out there, and I believe that makes us unique as people. It's in all this nothingness there is us on this rock, whereby we are curious. We even just being here, it's out of curiosity, and curiosity to learn, to grow. We love, we are, what should I say? We love, let me move on. I've forgotten that point there. It has run away, but yeah. Anyway, so basically what I'm driving to is that despite us being in a very big unknown, and we don't know what else is out there, we are here, and we are basically the universe's way of observing itself. We are part of the universe, but we also observe itself. We form opinions about it. We do very many different things about living and existing. So yes, that is my speech.
One, I will still ask, what was your command? Like, what were you trying to say? What were you trying to communicate? What is the essence of your communication? What was there? Because you talked about space, you talked about its difference from the Earth, it being like a tennis ball, talked about the sun, light rays. Yes. So what were you trying to say? Or what were you trying, if I leave this speech, what should I remember about the space?
That we as people, we are unique, and like we are special. Yeah, despite us being in this big space, this big void. We are there, like we exist.
So you're trying to relate as human beings to the sky or to the space.
No, I'm not relating. Like I'm saying there is space is so big, yes, but in all that vastness, we exist. We are there. Like we could be, because there's so much space with nothing, no life, but here we are. We exist here. That's what I was trying to drive at. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, actually that's it.
So in a nutshell, you're trying to explain space in relation to our existence.
Yes.
The spatial thing. Now, what it tells me is that remember we discussed about the four pillars: attention, interest, desire, and call to action. In there, you remember? So before, if I'm to use your speech to get my attention, I'll say, do you know we all share one thing above us? As my opening attention grabbing statement. Do you know we share one thing above us? And everybody will be like, this is the house, it's the blah blah. Now you bring in the space above. Now you relate the space, you've created the attention, then the interest. Then what about it? What about the space? Now I bring it down. We share the same space above us, but still we use the same space. Now I may relate it with, let me say, this world will not be a world without the space. That means we exist because of the space. Now you bring it down. We are human beings because of the space. The space in our breath. You can't breathe in, you have to stop and create a space to breathe out. Right? Now, you look for things that, music, for example, music is music because of the space in the notes. We are able to speak and communicate because of the space in our words. So now you're building from the vast space, you're narrowing it down to something that you want us to remember. Now maybe you craft something about the space. Now, if you're trying to say, to share space and relate it with our existence, then there is something you want us to remember. Is to always create the space. Me, as you're talking, I'll think of, actually, I'll craft it in mental health. I'm like, for anybody to be healthy, you need that space. The space to reflect, the space to understand yourself, the space to... But you see, I started from the bigger space. Then I narrowed it down to something I can take home. And that is one thing I noticed you are missing. You had everything, but it was a little bit scattered. You didn't have one point that you wanted us to take home as a team or as out of your communication.
Thank you, Aaron, for sharing this. It's interesting. I found it interesting when you're relating the space, and then as the human beings and being the intelligent ones who are there, and you know, when you talked about the tennis ball and the what did you say moves very fast? Light, yeah. It's quite interesting, and maybe like Dr. said, is the way it's outlined. All the information is there, but maybe the way of putting it out, like an order, like he said, the attention and all, but all the information is there. Thank you.
Every time I have a presentation, this is my model. I normally love the three. Now, my model is, you tell me, you know what you're going to talk about. Give a topic.
I give a topic.
Yeah, anything you want me to talk about.
What you should talk about?
Power.
So, our topic is power. Now, for me, actually, this should be done. Now, first of all, understand what is power. We have power within, power without, power over, power, I think the other one is power besides. Now, that is my topic. Now, I'm going to ask myself, how can I start this conversation? Because at the end of it all, at this point, I want people to understand what power is. Right? So I have to go back to our acronym: attention, interest, desire, and call to action. So what is my attention? That should be here in 1. This is 2. This is 3. So how am I going to start my conversation to get your attention? Maybe I'll think of desire. Every human being desires something. I won't mention it, but I'll leave it to you to now start thinking. Because when I say every human being desires power, it's direct. But I'll tell you, I'll ask you, or bring it up and say maybe every human being deserves something or desires something, and I keep quiet. Now, in your mind, what will be running in your mind? What is it? Some people think money, some people will be blah blah blah. Then I bring in my.
So it grabs your attention.
It grabs my attention so that you can listen. Remember, we have so many distractions. Attention so that I can listen, or I start asking myself, what is it? What is it? So every human being, here I put desires. Right? Now, if after I put desires, then I'll pause and keep what? Every one of us seated in this room today desires one thing. So like, what is it? I pause, then like power. Power, now it becomes my catchword. On every stage, I have to bring it back to remind you it's the topic I'm talking about. Right? Now I ask myself, power, but what is power? What is power? I come back now to define what power is. The different types of power. You know, all these come here in our pillar 1. Now, pillar 2, this has attention and interest. Now, pillar 2, you're raising their desire. Now, here I can bring in people I think are powerful, that have power. Maybe your father at home has power, the LOC1 has power, the president has power, but that is power without. How about power within? Now that power within starts with you, right? Now I'm trying to think about how I'm crafting my speech, how it's going to go. Now here I bring in the power that is raised by desires. Now here it is who has the power. Still I'm talking about power. Now here I'll zero it down to either something I want to channel my power conversation on. So that if we leave all this, what is everybody taking home? Now this has the call to action and reminding people about the power itself. Right? So I go back and read to make sure I fit all my arguments in these 3 pillars. Now what you did, for you only gave us this pillar. That's why it was vast, but we didn't have any correlation, we didn't have any call to action in regard to actually what you are selling. That's why I kept on asking, what are you selling? What are you trying to tell us? What's the underscore? Like, what's your point of influence? If I leave, I've heard about the space, then what? So there should be one reason which falls under the call of action. That's why you're talking about power. And that is what you end with. Because people normally like to remember this as your call to action. So you tailor make it from attention, interest, desire, then yeah. Let's use your space so that we can understand. And now we're going to sit back and you're going to think about something and work on it here. So what would you want your call to action to be about space? Let's presume it's going to be you're putting the space with maybe mental health, not so, or wellness. Now, we'll start with yours. You talked about the space. There's one thing we all have above us, which is the space. How you craft your opening statement is up to you, but always has to be a question that will help people to think about several things that actually may be relating to what you're trying to sell out. Now, after the space, you bring it down. Talked about the big space. Now, what entails the big space? What is something you're trying to create, the desire or the interest? What is there that we can relate with other than the big space? You saw you bring it down. Now, something we relate with, which is the desire to say. Then now, in that desire, you bring it down here. Then what is that thing that you want us to take? It's like the come home. You bring it home. If it's about mental health, then what? Definitely it's the space. The space to think about yourself, the space to reflect, the space to evaluate yourself, the space to understand yourself. Now, you come back and show them that if you're to live happy and fulfilled thereafter, all you need is the space. So that if I leave, I'll be like, you gave me a broader picture, you brought it down onto my personal need, which is the space. Now you tell us, how do we create the space? No, like how I said, how do you now get out the power? That's when you start, maybe create some time to reflect, or blah blah blah. All those come under here. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Like this, your statistics would have come here also. Your analogy of a tennis ball would have come here, actually here.
Relating.
Yes, you're trying to relate. And us as human beings, within the tennis ball, you see, it's the space. So without a space in the tennis ball, we don't have a tennis ball. Because the space is what creates the tennis ball. Yeah.
So this helps you organizing it so that it flows.
Okay.
So you're going to think of a topic, and we work on it now. And you'll present.